Hey, Countdown City Geeks, this is Retro Ray. We're back, this time with a live stream. Um, we've got an awesome guest with us today. Me, of course, and Nasser. Well, go ahead, Mr. Sir.
Am I the awesome guest this week?
You're my guest as well. I should
Yeah,
say co-host basically, because pretty much we do interviews together.
yeah.
Um, but if you don't know, we got the showrunner for Revival, who bought it from comics to the TV show. Um, had done so much with it. There's questions. If you have questions you want to ask, you can ask. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be talking about, if you didn't catch Easter eggs, this is a spoiler, live stream. So if you haven't watched it, beware. There are spoilers.
Mm.
Um, there's questions like there's a character in there that all of us fans who are X-Men fans that is in there. You're gonna want to talk about that, which I'm gonna ask. But of course, before we do all that, let's give a quick shout out to two people that we know. Dragon Slayer Alamo Ranch. If you are a gamer, if you are a comic book reader, this is where you want to go. You can sign up for a subscription. You can do pre-orders, play Magic, Warhammer, all in one place. And then also Nasser show that's going to be dropping. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Casa year 4 is November 15th, 2025. So just today is exactly 2 months until Casa. So hopefully, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a fan of comic strips, manga, anything that has to do with sequential art, hopefully you can join us. We're going to be at the Red Oak Ballroom this year. So if you know where the Park North Alamo Draft House is, we're right under there with a bigger ballroom than what we had last year. So hopefully everyone can come join us. We're going to do $10 tickets and then a $20 VIP where you get a free shirt, a tote bag, lanyard and badge. Just it's going to be a fun time, man. And we've got a lot of great guests. So if you just visit the website, you can see the full guest list.
And then not just that, sir. One of the guests that we got worked on this comic that we have here that was a TV show now. Of course, we're talking about.
Yeah, Mike Norton. So if you read Revival, if you're a fan of Mike's work when he was over at Marvel and created Gravity that you see there on the screen, or Mike's work on Blue Beetle or any of the other DC work he's done recently, like Crypto, Mike will be joining us this year for Casa.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I already get my crypto sketchbook ready. I got to get a sketch from him.
Yeah,
But
and
yes,
if anyone's a Blue Beetle fan, we've got kind of a Blue Beetle fest going on. So we've got Mike, we've got Cully Hamner, we got Josh Trujillo, who was the writer on the last Blue Beetle series. So yeah, definitely, if you're a Blue Beetle fan, if you're just a comic fan, please come on out.
of course, not waiting any longer. Let's get the guest of honor in the room. Luke, welcome back, sir.
Hey
What's going
guys,
on, Luke?
not much. Glad to be back.
Cool,
Had
man.
a great time last time, so thank you for reminding me back.
Well, where we left off is because Nasser hadn't watched episode 6,
Oh yeah,
where all the stuff went down.
yeah.
Since you watched it now, Nasser, what'd you think about that episode? It was nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, lots of action, lots of killing, lots of it was
Oh,
it was interesting how it was, I guess, y'all's version of M's, murder spree from the comics.
Yep.
So I'm sure we'll be talking more about the adaptation and how you guys decided on what to adapt and what to keep and what to change and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
and then also, in that episode, okay, I gotta ask ahead of time. We're getting into it now. So there's a scene in the hospital room when she's laid up in the hospital bed, and she finally realizes who shot her. And okay, you have a song playing in the background that's in the TV, and then the funny thing prior to that, okay, I'm jumping too forward. Prior to that, you have the reference of Harry Mitz Henderson's.
Yeah. Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah.
Yeah, where did you, was that intentional? Did you put that in there, or what
That
was?
yeah, that was all my co-showrunner Aaron B. Kuntz, who put that in there, and yeah, it's just a reference. We honestly thought it was gonna get cut. For a while. It was just like you throw tons of these pop culture references in there because we just we love movies. We're both into all that stuff, and you throw them here and there, and you see what lands. A lot of it doesn't. Sometimes it's too much, but that one stuck around. It was fun because Aaron showed Melanie, who hadn't actually seen the episode, the scene
Oh wow.
that happened, so that she could basically do the scene exactly. And I think it's one of the funniest parts of the show. I actually just watched the movie again with my daughter, with my 8-year-old daughter, who will be 9 in a week. So she loved it. Loved the movie. So it's so good. It's such a great movie.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
No, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know the younger generation, the current generation, it is an awesome movie that was actually later turned into a TV show as well down the
Mhm.
line.
Nice.
Great movie.
Forgot about
The line, as soon as I heard it, because my wife's 4 years younger than me, so
that.
she's like, she never seen it either. So she was like, "What is that from?" I'm like, "Oh, we got to see that. I got to show you that. That's an old movie from that." But it was hilarious. But from
It's
there,
still
and that,
so funny. The movie is so funny.
oh, dude, yeah, the actor who played Harry, I think also played the Predator. I think in the suit, right?
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That makes sense though. He's so big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
huge.
But then, okay, jumping now, going back
Yeah.
to the song. Who picked the song, and what was the reasoning behind that song playing while the fight was going down?
So funny story about that. And I'm trying to think of the name. I have to look it up, of Lenny's last name. I can never spell or pronounce it right. I'll see if I can figure it out. But anyway, we're trying to figure out, basically, with a show like this, it's very low budget.
Yeah.
Which meant that we had a very short amount of time to film every episode. We had 6 days to film a single episode, which is not a lot of time. That's what it takes to film like a sitcom, right? So like,
Oh dang.
So that's what I was going to ask. So, I'm not familiar with how TV works. What normally would it take for something like
normally, yeah. So normally for an hour long, it's gonna take anywhere from like 8 to 12, 13 days, something like that per episode.
Wow.
that? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
6 is like really tight, and well, especially for a show like ours, which is kind of trying to be, a bigger production. Like our ambition is a little bit bigger than our budget will allow. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of these big fight scenes and stunts. If you're not familiar with how production works, stunt days where you have all these fight stunts, they take a lot of time. And that's just the luxury we didn't have, was time. And so we had this idea in the writers' room. We're like, okay, well, let's have this thing where he turns the TV on and turns the music up. So if we need to cut away from the action at any point because we didn't get the action, then we could put like a music video. So let's like figure out like a fun music video that could be playing while they're fighting. And I remember mentioning, I was like, oh, it would be so great. Just because Aaron and I are both, big 80s fans. I was like, what about Never Surrender from Kickboxer?
Mm-hmm.
So it just so happens that Aaron's friends with, and I cannot think of his last name, Lenny, it starts with an M. I need to look it up, but he wrote a lot of, Aaron used one of his songs in Scare Package 2 from the movie Rad. I don't know if you remember the movie Rad.
Yes.
So
Oh man.
this guy, he wrote like all these fantastic 80s songs, and specifically with Stan Bush. And I love Stan Bush, right? Stan Bush, the
Dude.
great Transformer song and stuff like that. So they did Never Surrender together for Kickboxer. And he's like, yeah, you got it, man. He's like, I'll let you use the song for like nothing. And it gave it to us for a little bit. It wasn't nothing, but it was a little bit. But the funny thing is you can't use the music video for the song because the music video is all footage from Kickboxer.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay.
license the movie, and plus it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is like very expensive to use any of his likeness or anything. So
Wow.
we couldn't use the music video. We couldn't afford to, basically. And so we're like, well, that's okay. We'll make up our own 80s music video for Never Surrender, which was super fun. So like I ended up it was so interesting trying to figure out how to make this. Oh my god, my cat just jumped up here. We actually licensed the footage from a movie called New York Ninja, which if you don't know is from Vinegar Syndrome, restored this like old 80s horrible martial arts film. It's so crazy. And we were able to license the footage from that and then build a music video of these crazy martial arts moves going on with Never Surrender while we have a fight in a hospital room going. And it's one of my favorite parts of the whole show.
The movie poster for New York Ninja is amazing. I just looked it up.
Yes.
Oh
Wow.
man, that is so hilarious. So the funny thing is, that in general, when I was listening to it, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I mean, I'm an 80s guy.
Yeah, same.
So, Bloodsport, Kickboxer,
Love
all those movies were what I would watch all the time. Anything that had martial arts in it. But yeah, as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. And so it caught my eye in there, that little Easter egg. And I was just kind of like,
made it
and
for
my wife,
guys like you, right? Like, these guys, like, because I'm that guy, so I'm like, all the guys like me are gonna love this.
you couldn't find somewhere to put "You Got the Touch," Luke? Come on.
Oh, if only, man. If only. That's season 2. Season 2 will find
Right.
touch.
Oh,
The
man.
whole show starts on a Stan Bush song too. I can't remember the name of which song. I'll send you that. We have a playlist actually that I will send you on Spotify of all the
Okay.
music
wow.
show. Then it has the Stan Bush song that we put in Randy's crematorium at the beginning as well.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask about that. So this opening scene. So you know how
Yeah.
Game of Thrones has their whole film thing going on and the music playing. Yours showing like the badge and then showing the skull and then showing the. So whose idea was it to come up with that for the intro?
I'm sorry, for which part?
So
For
the intro of the intro of Revival.
Oh, the actual credits.
Yeah.
The title thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a company we worked with, a firm in Toronto that did that called Reactive, and just a couple really really wonderful people, just really got the show right away. They pitched us a few different options, and we wanted to do something that sort of positioned the show as kind of a investigative mystery with like this weird supernatural vibe. I mean, that just we're just what kind of makes the show feel like that right away when you're starting to watch it. And they kind of came up with this idea that we loved, and we kind of picked out all the different items, which as you watch the show, all the different items that show up, start to actually contextualize. You get to understand what they are and where they're from, and we thought that was a fun thing. The more you watch it, the more the opening makes sense. So yeah, that was a creative firm that we worked with, and it was amazing. The first time we saw it, Aaron and I both were just like losing our minds.
No, I loved it. So what were you going to ask, Nasser?
Oh, I was just wondering, with all the Easter eggs, did y'all ever have anything with like Jenny's covers or anything like that maybe didn't make the show?
Yeah, you know what? One of the biggest things, there was our first idea for the intro of the show was actually to do an intro with Jenny's art. We actually thought about doing a thing and we talked to Jenny for a bit. And the problem with Jenny is she gets booked up really, really quickly. So getting her schedule locked down is really hard. You have to get in her schedule early, and we just didn't know. It was really tough to figure out how we were going to do that with the limited time that we had. Excuse me. So it ended up not really working, but we really badly wanted to really pay homage to the comic that way and have her sort of do like original comic art, cover art, I should say, for the show for every single, almost like every episode was a new issue of the comic. So that would have been super cool. And we've talked about like doing, hopefully one day I'd love for Jenny to do. We've talked about her doing like recreations of some of her best covers from the comic, but with likenesses of the characters, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I'd love to see Jenny's Stephen Ogg. You know what I mean? Like that would be
Mhm.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That'd be super cool if y'all do like a DVD release or something to include some of those.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
we should just have Jenny do the cover for the DVD release. That'd be awesome.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh,
or even like
yeah.
a special edition that comes with some like mini prints inside or something.
Yeah.
You can have that idea, Luke. There you go.
All right, thank you. I'll give you a finder's fee on that one.
All right. Just send me a copy of the DVD. There we go.
Okay. So the other question I was going to ask, and I mentioned it during the intro. So if people didn't catch, X-Men fans, um, Rogue is in this whole season.
Yep.
So what made you pick the actress that portrayed Rogue for this season?
So she was sent to us by our casting director, and when I saw her, we every time we get a tape or anything, we kind of do our research, and immediately, like I was like, oh my god, I know this voice. What is this voice? And I looked, and sure enough, I was like, I remember going, Aaron, holy crap, this is Lenore Zan, the voice of Rogue. Like this is like part of my child. It's like if you were a kid in the 80s and the 90s, there's like three voices, right, that you can pick out immediately. It's Rob Paulson, right? So
Yep.
you know Rob from you know his Raphael if
Mhm.
if you're a Turtles fan. You
Yeah.
know Kevin Conroy if you
Yep.
watch Batman the Animated Series. Like Kevin Conroy is Batman, and you know Rogue, right? You know Rogue from X-Men the Animated Series. And
Mhm.
so I was like, I mean, we have to get Lenore in here. This would be amazing. And I remember texting Tim Seeley about it, and he was freaking out because at the time he had just started writing a Rogue book for Marvel, and he was like, "This
Oh,
is crazy." And when he came to set, I need to post this picture sometime, but he took a picture with Lenore, and it was
oh,
he was so excited. The funniest thing though is that I got to direct the sequence, and if you remember in episode 10 when Dana figures out that Lester is the killer, that it's through a sex tape with
yes.
Oh yeah.
with Lester and Jeannie, and that was a blast working with her and Peter on that, and she was like gung ho for it, like she loved the idea, and that's where I had her go. I go, okay, you got to give me a sugar, and she was like all into it. She was like, yes.
Man, that
Yeah.
went right over my head, guys. Like I loved X-Men the animated series and never realized that that was the voice of Rogue
Yeah.
until Ray started talking about it. I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, Anna Paquin was in the show?
I would.
Oh no, I told you, dude. When I'm watching something, I'm like, especially when I go back and watch it again, because you're watching it the first time, you kind of oversee things, and
Mhm.
my ADHD brain is constantly like taking in the backgrounds because I like to see when they mess up on movies and TV shows, like when you see the boom mic, or one minute they have the drink filled
Funny.
up, the other drink is not. Don't ask. I don't know why I do that. I look for that stuff. I don't know why I do that. But anyway, so I see that, and then when I see stuff like that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And like I said, the song for the TV and the fight scene, and the whole Harry and the Hendersons, those little things, and that's why when I see people like you, Luke, put stuff like that in the comic and in the TV shows or movies, those little things. I mean, they're not crazy big things, but
Yeah,
just that little thing.
but they're fun.
Yeah. But there was more. I mean, so what other
Oh,
stuff did you put in there that maybe I'm gonna let you pick another one and see if Nasser caught it.
Man,
man.
my ADHD brain doesn't catch that. My ADHD brain like sees a spot on the wall that I hadn't noticed before.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, man, I missed 2 minutes. Let me rewind.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the same way.
Oh
Man,
man.
I'm trying to think like what I like to do was get a lot of stuff from the comic in there. So any
Yeah.
chance that we could kind of insert some sort of reference or a name or something like that from the comic, I was kind of doing that with the art. The art department did a lot. Our art department, our
Dude, they
costume
killed it.
department, they were like they were so dedicated to making the comic come to life, and so they would put a lot of stuff in there too. I'm trying,
Yeah.
man. There's so much, and it's been so.
So I caught the
trying to
Hack
think of it.
Slash comic.
Hack Slash was
I
yeah,
caught
was
the
a big
Mike
one.
Norton on the Tombstone.
All
I-
of the comics that Cooper reads in the show are all Tim Seeley comics.
Yeah, I
He like
saw that.
basically sent us a huge box of his comics, his toys. He makes custom toys, so we had a ton of that. So there's tons of stuff in Cooper's room. It's all
So I
Tim.
did catch that. One of the action figures was Local Man. I
Yeah,
did notice
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We got some of the
Nice.
long box stuff, or I
Mhm.
wonder if that was one of his. I don't know if the long box thing ever happened. That might have been one of Tim's customs, but there's like posters. There's like Tim Seeley posters. I remember there was there's like two of Tim's naked girls posted up in McCrae's cubicle in the police station. Let's see. I'm in there in episode 7. I'm on the TV when it pans over during the kind of the news station.
Yeah.
You can catch me in there. There's weird little stuff like that all over the place. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think what else.
So I have to watch it
Wow.
again because you said you've already done a watch through twice, Ray?
Wow.
Yeah, it was because so like I told you, that's just how I
Mhm.
do it. Because even like when you watch Doctor Who, like even though it's so crazy, like I know I catch the craziest stuff. So anyway, in Doctor Who, you'll see like you watch like season 9, whatever, and you go back, you're like, holy crap, that ties to this
Mhm.
episode over here. But when you're watching that episode at the time, you don't catch
Yeah.
it because you're just watching the episode. But then when you go watch it again from the beginning, you're like, holy crap, this ties to this ties to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, my brain works in some crazy ways. I don't know why, but it
Mhm.
does. But with with you in general, Luke, you love the 80s. I watched, when we talked about the movie that you worked with,
Yep.
with Mike, with Tim on, um, and that one, the whole, the rapture and all that. That one was crazy. I got to watch it after the interview, and I was like, wow. I mean, it made you think. It was crazy how the door jams because the wood on the floor and the bottom, you know. It was great. I mean, it was something like you said, the way you made it. And this is the thing as a director, even the scenes that you filmed on this in Revival, eh, how much of it do you have like, okay, I know this people, when you see directors doing
Mhm.
this, there's a reason for that. Because they're trying to figure out like, okay, we're in front of the hospital. Okay, this looks good, this angle. I never understood that at the beginning, but now I can see. So like when you're filming certain scenes, it, you, do you pick like how is it you analyze how you want to film?
In the when I'm directing, I'm doing that
Yeah.
mostly, and that kind of comes from usually on the day of. You'll go in and you'll kind of determine what your shot list is, or you'll do the night before. On Revealer, I would do it a lot of the night before. I'd walk through the set, and that was the great thing about Revealer is it was all on one set, and we never had to
Yeah.
leave, so we kind of got to we really got to do that to more of a degree than you normally would on a small independent film. In Revival, I didn't do that. Our directors kind of did a lot of that, but what we did do is we picked the cinematographer. We kind of picked sort of
Oh, okay,
what we
okay.
wanted the look to be, and we worked with them on that. Justin Black was our cinematographer, who was an absolute savant. I mean, he's incredible, just absolutely incredible. What he would do on this show still kind of blows my mind. I think he's brilliant. So, we told him we wanted anamorphic lenses. We wanted that really kind of soft anamorphic look. 'Cause I just anything that I can do to get. I did it on Revealer too. For me, like cinema coming from the 80s and stuff like that, like that's cinema to me. It's like this, the softer 35 millimeter kind of vibe. It's I want a movie or a TV show. It's you don't want it to be hyper real. You want it to be real and grounded, but like to me, cinema is a dream, right? Like it's like a shared dream, and you kind of want that feeling. That's why we kind of like 24 frames per second, and we kind of like lens flares and all these other things that are like these stylistic flourishes. I think it's, even though we're going for realism and we're going for naturalism, like we especially do that in Revival, you still want to feel like this is a world that you can escape into. I mean, especially as someone who loves comic books, right? Like, to me, it's like it's a visual medium. You know, the more you want it to feel real, but you also want it to be stylized to a degree, because that's kind of that's why what else is the point in doing this.
Yeah.
True. Then, so because Nasser brought it up, so changing M's fight scene that her killing spree. I'm sorry. So what made y'all change it to that? I
For the
mean,
Czech Brothers?
it kind of
Yeah.
But I guess just overall, Luke, like, how do y'all go about choosing what parts are going to stay in and what you're just going to try to keep the same feel of?
Yeah, so that was a tough thing to do. It kind of starts with the idea that with Revival in particular. My original vision for Revival was probably much more close to the comic book than what we ended up with. But the problem with that was, well, there's a couple problems with it. It didn't work as well to be as faithful to the source material, because the source material is just so, it goes on these side quests all the time, and it kind of doesn't have a super strong focus. So if you've ever read Revival, it's 47 issues, it's amazing, but the whole thing, all 47 issues, is underneath it sort of this murder mystery, right? You have this question of who killed M, and that does not get solved until the final 5 issues. And that's great. But in a show like this, part of the sell of the show was to say, hey, here's this undead story, but you've got this murdered victim who is alive. And that's kind of the hook. And we're like, we want to make this a murder mystery. The comic is a murder mystery, but not in sort of like a procedural way. So the television medium, we thought, like, let's really push that. Like, let's make it more where you've got a suspect every episode, right? And then I was like, I think we should solve the mystery of who killed them by the end of season 1. I just don't think letting that simmer for multiple seasons is gonna make anybody happy. And sure enough, I remember when the show was airing and people started to get answers, in the second half of the season, people were happy. People want, you can only sustain sort of that really big mystery for so long. So we wanted to tell the story, and in order to do that, you have to tell kind of the high level story that is the whole Revival comic, right? You can't. It's hard to kind of, and we do plan on going back and telling other stories, but for the most part, you're ending with M's death, and because of that, or I'm sorry, M's murder and who killed M. Because of that, we had to sort of go in and restructure a few things, and then it's kind of a Jenga tower. It starts to fall down a little bit. If you're trying really hard to follow the comic, it's going to be, once you start changing a little bit, you start to have to change a lot. And so, but the Czech Brothers scene, we knew we wanted to do that in the comic. It's a huge turning point for who M is, and we knew that was going to be our turning point. About halfway through the season, we wanted there to be this really big turning point for the character, and the Czech Brothers it's a great scene in the comic. We wanted to put it here, but what happened was we gave M this backstory because we realized that, like, if you're structuring it to where, like, you're asking, okay, what happened to M? She doesn't know for sure that she got murdered. So the first suspect has to be herself, like it was intentional or it was an accident, right? So that was our first suspect in episode 2. And then we get to the end of episode 2 saying, well, she didn't kill herself, or she wasn't an accident, she was murdered. We hear Kay say she was murdered. So then we started thinking, okay, well, who could have murdered her? So then we started listing out these suspects, and we were like, well, let's make the Czech Brothers one of the suspects. So in order to make the Czech Brothers suspects. We kind of changed their. We didn't really change because they are kind of this way in the comic, but they were more like kind of these drug dealer types. So in the comic, they are cutting up Reviver parts, and as you saw, we have Tommy the Torso in there. But it's just everything is sort of like a, because of this, then this happens. Sort of the story just starts to tell you, okay, here's what we need to do to make this work in an episodic format. And it just kind of got that way with the Trek brothers. I mean, we knew we didn't want to have Derek in there. So in the comic, the Trek brothers are renting a shed in Derek's behind Derek's house. Derek being Cooper's dad, bio dad.
Yeah, why did y'all not include that? I thought in the comic that really added another layer of their whole family dynamic.
Well,
not only their dad and the two girls, but now you've got
well, we knew that we had to sort of like to make this story last. We needed to take some things and we needed to hold some things back. So we wanted to keep Derek to the side for now, so that we can do something with him later. So
we will meet Derek.
We will meet Derek, yeah, and that's why we mentioned Derek, in episode 1. So it's just it's not the same as in the comic, and so we had to change that thing with the shed. So right away we knew that wasn't. Also, we just have so many freaking characters in the show. It's insane. we had to keep a couple back, but it's a domino effect. It's just like you kind of, one thing falls down and the rest just start falling after it. So
is there ever a I'm sorry, go ahead, Luke.
No, just finishing.
I was just saying, is there ever a worry that, hey, we've pushed too many dominoes down here?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that's kind of part of the adaptation process. Is you have to constantly ask yourself, when does it stop feeling like Revival? Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of my job, because I had come from the position of, really, really loving the comic and wanting to make the comic. Aaron had kind of come from the position of more of the storytelling perspective, like loving genre and wanting to sort of make it in our image. So, we were always working together to make sure that we were doing what the story told us needed to be done. But also, it was constantly a question of, what is Revival? What is the core of what makes Revival feel like Revival? And are we accomplishing that? Does it still feel like Revival? Which I think we accomplished. And in this case, what we knew right away was that Revival is the story of the Cypresses, of Dana and Em primarily, and Wayne in this town of Wassa. And you have the supernatural event of the dead coming back, but they're just like they were before. And, those things permeate, I think, through the show, so that how those events get to different places, you can still get there. But the other thing, too, is we wanted to surprise, the readers of the comic. You know what I mean? Like I think there's nothing against. I don't have anything against like adapting faithfully, but I think that in a story like this, it's fun to sort of like, if you know what's going to happen, kind of getting to a point where like, oh, this is familiar, and you're like, oh, that's different. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, so are they going to do this? I remember someone came to me and they're like, a huge comic fan, but they loved the show, but they were like, wait, so is the killer who I think it is? And I was like, I don't know. We've kind of gotten to a point where you can't necessarily trust us.
Yeah,
on that road or not. So yeah,
that happened with me and my wife. We're just like, so everything's different now, so who knows?
But then of course at the end it turns out exactly the way. That was the other thing. It's like, okay, well, we knew that at the beginning we wanted it to feel as faithful as possible, and then we wanted the end to be faithful. We wanted that story to sort of have those pillars, and then we could kind of play around a little bit in the middle. But yeah, we always knew that Lester would be the killer, which, to be honest, was actually, I think when the comic came out, that was somewhat of a controversial move too. I remember reading some people didn't like it as much. They're like, oh, really? Kind of let down by it. So it was actually a little bit of a risk for us to do that. But I just thought, I just thought the idea of this Jack LaLanne character was so fun. I personally liked the ending of the comic, so I was like, let's keep it. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I thought it made perfect sense with
Yeah,
the guy that was obsessed with health and trying to live as long as possible. Of
exactly.
course, once he realizes that there's only so much he can do with diet and exercise,
Yeah,
he's gonna go to the next step.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And then we talked about this in the last time we had you on. You got CM Punk to come out, and he's the huge comic book geek. I mean, after him portraying this role, he killed it. I mean, he
Oh yeah,
played the villain awesome.
yeah.
What was his expectation since he was a fan of the comic and him being able to portray this role?
I mean, I remember the first time that we ever asked Phil about it, he was like, "Yes." Like it wasn't even like I remember we were actually at C2E2, and he was there, and we had just done this movie with him called Girl on the Third Floor, which is a great movie, by the way. Check it out. He's really good in that too. So we knew he could act because we've watched him. He's a great actor. And I was like, dude, I would love you to be in Revival. I heard that you're a fan. I heard that you're a big fan. And he's like, yes, yes, sign me up. I don't care, whatever you do. So I remember we got like an LOI from him, which is a letter of intent, just to make sure that we kind of had it on paper. And then years passed. He was going to be in the film version.
Oh,
Years
wow.
passed, and I remember we were like, man, I don't know, like because we're a Canadian production and he's American, we couldn't get him, and we're like, I'm sorry, man. I remember emailing him. I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. I really badly wish that you could have been in this, but I don't think they're gonna let us because of the Canadian thing. And he wrote us back. And he's like, dude, I'll do whatever it takes. He's like, let's talk. I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever we need to do, I'll do it. And it just so
Wow.
happened that his management was the same. He was managed by the same company that managed the production company,
Mhm.
and he worked out a deal where he could. There's a little bit of a thing where you can kind of, if you're a SAG, you can go into the Canadian, which is called ACTRA. I don't know the details of this; is kind of above my pay grade a little bit, but he was able to talk to them and make it work basically. And he was like, whatever it takes to make it work. He just was a huge fan of the comic and wanted to be a part of the show. So he was, I mean, incredible, just amazing. So yeah, so as you can imagine, he was pretty gung ho. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of time to really talk about the character because he was like in and out. He was,
Oh, wow.
I think he was in for 3 days total, and then we had him out. I mean, we shot all of his stuff super quick, and then there was a whole ordeal of getting him back to Vancouver. He had to go to Vancouver for what is it? What's the big Vancouver show?
Like Raw
Uh,
or something like that or something?
yeah, it's one of the big ones every year, and I can't remember what it was
Oh, okay.
because it
Yeah,
would have
that's
been
it.
in November. It would have been in November, I believe.
I'm trying to
Um,
remember.
Survivor
I'm not a
series
wrestling
or
fan, so
hmm.
yeah, I can't remember exactly. Sorry.
Even still, he was able to pull it off. He did a great job as that character.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah, and
dude.
I mean, we'd love to bring him back. I think we're gonna try. We're gonna try.
Well, I was just gonna bring this. We had a question.
Yeah.
Um, they asked.
I mean,
uh,
it's in the works. I will say, like, we've got ideas and we're talking and we're creating. We're working out the details, but we have not gotten an official renewal yet. So we're still waiting on word on that. And I think it's just they want to evaluate the Peacock numbers and stuff like that and see how it goes. So
no, it's
Yeah,
definitely.
so piggybacking off of that, Luke, so if they do give you the word like, hey, you're approved for a season two,
yeah.
like how far down the road are y'all? Do y'all already have scripts and stuff or
No, 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 no. Well,
okay.
we've got big picture stuff. We've got like we kind of know in general what the season will feel like, and there's certainly we're talking about what we want to bring in from the comic and stuff like that. But yeah, no scripts or anything like that yet.
Mhm.
Dang. Well,
And
that's
then
the
that
thing.
leads to the next thing. So the show ends with basically the end of the comic series. Like
Yeah,
that's almost a shot for shot, that last page. So is it like a Game of Thrones things that where you start making up your own stuff because you've outpaced
Yeah.
the books, or?
Yeah, so we knew what we wanted to do is we kind of wanted to do this thing where we were like, okay, we're just gonna go all out because in this day and age, you never know. You never know. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll get one season and that's it. So let's tell the story we want to tell. But I was like, I remember the first time that Aaron came on, I remember telling him, I was like, but listen, M dies at the end of the book. We obviously can't kill M off. But what I was like, what if? And then I kind of pitched him on this whole thing with them. So we kind of have this 3-season idea that is sort of this big M saga, as I'll say. So it definitely goes away from the comic in terms of new stories, but the idea is to then bring a lot of stuff from the comic into the story to kind of kind of like what we did this time, just because the comic has these little side quests that you can do, and there's a lot of characters that we love. So and even some that are in there, like Jamie Hine, who's played by Karen Knox, is in the show, but she's just
I
like
was
in for
gonna
a second. You know
I
what I
was
mean?
gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, I love that storyline, and we wanted to do it, but there's just no time. So, a lot of that kind of stuff, like the Anders Hine, storyline, we want to bring stuff like that into it. We want to do stuff, and that's why, the Revivers are still alive. They're still there, and there's a lot of fun stuff that we have planned for Wassa and things like that. I won't go into any more detail, but we definitely have some fun ideas.
So just in case we've got people watching who haven't read the comics, so
Yeah,
you've got
I'm
you've got
spoiling the heck out
M's M's situation that happens in
of it.
the comics. You've got plans for that?
M situation. I'm trying. I know you're trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where.
Should I just spoil the comics if someone hasn't?
Well, I mean, I guess tech. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No comment. Yes.
So you go get the books so you can figure out what we're
Yes, go
talking
get the
about.
books. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you for actually not saying it because.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna bring up the Karen Knox thing. She
Yeah.
also came out on Winona Earp
Yeah.
with Melina. I mean,
Yeah.
that was them working together on that. That's a great show in itself as
Yeah.
well. Both actresses killed it. And I was going to talk about Romy, her fight scene and everything, the way she portrayed I don't know, it's just the way she acted when she died and the way when spoilers again, yeah, when her sister dies and she's there and she's holding her arms and stuff like that. That was an awesome scene in itself.
I cry.
Yeah, dude, she killed it. Like,
She's amazing.
how did you? Okay, how many castings did you have?
You cried, and I'm yelling at like, "What's going on?"
But so getting her, how did you know? Okay, we're getting her. Like, because I know there's a number. Like, some people can get auditions can be like up to 300 to 400 auditions just for this one particular character.
Yeah.
What did she do that sold it for you? Like, hey, that's her.
And was there anyone
it.
else in the running?
Yeah, there was a few people in the running. We had we were looking at quite a few people. I mean, we kind of wanted to get someone a little more unknown for M because we knew
Nice.
that character could sustain sort of this fan love, just kind of like which she did. I think one of the things that I'm so happy about the way the show turned out is that people really got drawn to M. I think,
Yeah.
which you come for Dana, you come for Melanie Scrofano, but you start to fall in love with M, and you start to fall in love with Romy, and that was by design, and it only works if you get somebody like a Romy, who is just. I mean, the first thing it was with Romy was her tape made me cry. It was like she basically did a couple scenes. One of the scenes was the one that she does in her and Dana in the car in episode 1.
Oh.
And she's like crying in her tape, and and she has these eyes. Just Aaron and I both kind of like eyes are a big thing for us, right? Like how expressive they are, how much they kind of pierce the camera. I mean, you can do a lot with, because again, it is a visual medium, and a part of acting is sort of face acting, and like what you can do with that. And I think some people have that naturally, and Romy had that immediately. I mean, it was just like she has a magnetism, and that, you know, tapes can. I don't know how I feel about tapes. Like after COVID, the whole industry switched to tape auditions. Our case, it was kind of necessary because we were out in St. John, and most of our actors were in Toronto. But it can be a thing where it's like you can lose a little bit in a tape, whereas like in person auditions, I prefer, because you can get a stronger sense of just their overall presence. But the one nice thing about a tape is that they're on camera, and you can kind of see how some of those things really pierce the camera. And that was, I mean, Romy had that in spades. It was incredible. But yeah, I think there was like ultimately there was like 4 different people that we were looking at, but Romy she rose to the top pretty quick.
And what about the physicality? How much of the fight scenes and things like that are Romy and Melanie doing themselves?
Most in our case, it was mostly stunts because we just was such a small production, we can't afford. Like I mean, there was multiple things. Our schedule was so tight, we couldn't afford for an actor to take a sick day. And there was a couple times where we had a couple actors who were not feeling great, and they still came in, and they absolutely can stay home, but they chose not to. And that's the kind of like, vibe that we just had on set, is everyone kind of knew that, it felt like an indie film, where you're kind of, everyone's playing ball, and that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to have. And so, even our actors were just down. They were just down to go in there. I remember poor David, James Elliott, got so sick that he couldn't talk. And there's actually like an episode where a lot of his lines are ADR'd because he had lost his voice pretty much, and was struggling to talk. So God bless him. He didn't have to come in, but he did. He was a trooper, and everyone was like that. Everyone was just like ready to do stuff. But if someone gets hurt, that's a bad thing. So most of it was stunt. Although, like jumping on Phil's shoulders when Romy did that was Romy, and stuff like that. And Phil kind of helped her kind of. He was like, I remember him telling her, listen, you can't hurt me. Don't worry about it. Go for it. But Romy,
plus he's the perfect person to know how to like throw somebody, or how to like take a punch or something,
Exactly. It's perfect. But yeah, Romy's 5'1", so she's a tiny little.
Wow.
And that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted someone that felt small and frail to then come in and just kick ass, right? Like that's kind of the fun of that character.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, then when we had you last as well, you were fixing to hit San Diego. You're fixing to have the panel. Of course, we have some photos of the day that you were in San Diego with the cast. Fun. Yeah. So with you and the cast, how was the panel? How was your first San Diego panel for you?
Oh my God, it was a dream come true. I mean, it was my second Comic-Con. I had actually gone in 2018 with Tim Seeley, actually, to talk, did some revival meetings back then. And I remember being there and thinking, man, someday, maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe. So it was weird. It was a weird full circle thing for me to be there. But, man, it was crazy busy. Like I remember thinking, like they don't do, Marvel and Star Wars and all these, DC, they've all kind of, for the most part, left San Diego to do their own thing. So a lot of the big stuff at San Diego is TV shows and stuff. So it was really cool that we kind of, I think if a revival had been there, pre-COVID, in the days of like the really, really big stuff, when they're announcing Superman v Batman, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then a show like us gets buried a bit. But we're there with, and still some big shows. I mean, Dexter was there, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds was there, Alien Earth was there. So certainly, no slouches by any means. But I mean, we had a huge showing at the panel, and we did a signing afterwards, and the line at the image booth which just went down. For it was like, I think we had an hour to sign, and there were still over 30 or 50 people waiting in line once that hour hit. It was amazing. It was crazy. So that kind of support, that kind of love and enthusiasm for the show, just, I mean, it humbled me. It just was so cool, so amazing.
Yeah, and
So
it looked like y'all got good coverage because I felt like I kept seeing all the like comic news outlets showing pictures of you guys
Yeah,
and interviews and stuff like that.
yeah, we did a ton. We did 2 days of interviews. We did everything. We did Den of Geek and Screen Rant, and my favorite was one. There was a thing we did called coloring with something.
oh
It was like
yeah.
literally an interview you do while you color. They had like these coloring pages of from the show, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. How did
We need to do that, Ray.
Yeah, there you go.
That's yeah, definitely we could do that.
Just color while we're talking to people.
And then let's show it afterwards.
Yeah.
So here, the photo shoots as well.
Yeah.
How many, I mean, for you, was this kind of like the first time you experienced this type of, I guess I'll say it kind of a red carpet-ish,
Yeah.
because you pretty much were with the cast and spending the day together. How was it? I mean, because I think when was the last time that y'all were all together other than filming?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen any of them since, our final week of filming.
Wow.
Andy even earlier, because Andy wrapped a week before everybody else. So this was the first time seeing them. It was amazing. We got to hang out everywhere, and it was, and Melanie, who's been, I think this was her 6th San Diego Comic Con. Like she's a big, I mean, she's obviously for all the years of Winona Earp, and and now she's doing Star Trek cons and all kinds of stuff. So she was like, I remember we were like going to stuff, and people on the street like stopping her and wanting, having her. I was kind of like started to act like I was her bodyguard because nobody gives a crap about me, and I'm already got imposter syndrome. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get close and kind of keep you safe here because we can't get anywhere. So it was funny to kind of experience that secondhand from her.
Wow.
So
That's
Did
awesome.
y'all show anything other than the trailer at Comic-Con?
we did. We showed the teaser to episode 8 because episode 7 had just aired
Oh, okay.
the day before. So our special thing was we showed the beginning of episode 8, which is with the Rose episode. Yeah.
So with the panel going on, I mean, they always have fans come up to the mic and ask questions. What were some of the questions that the fans asked you?
Oh, what were some of the questions? Well, one of the fun things we got to do is we asked them a couple questions. So we brought the hoodies. We had made hoodies.
Yeah,
So
that's I had the photos.
we had the hoodies. Yes, so we made a hoodie, gave that away to people who had the right answer.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, we also had the mini mates. Do you guys remember? Mini mates.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
those?
like the
They had
little like Lego figures type things.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
had they released one that was a hack slash and an M Cypress from the comic when the comic came out, and they're out of print now. But I had a few, so I brought one and we gave that away as well. So I remember
Wow.
we gave that to a couple fans. I'm trying to think what some of the questions were. The panel was taped. I thought that they were going to release it, but I don't know if they have yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna take a look for it now.
I can't remember. I remember somebody did dress up as Brett too, which was fun. Yeah.
The cosplayer is always the best. I mean, that's the thing about this industry. The fan base, when they love something, they're gonna dress up as it. And getting back to, I mean, this being your first convention, getting to see the fans, getting to talk to the fans, coming back, and then we talked about this pre-interview about TV time, the comments and checking some of that stuff out. Some of the questions, then, Nasser kind of brought it up, the very end of the comic, we get that one scene. Now, that one last scene that we get, dude, it was such a great way it was filmed, where you see her flip the hoodie, and then it just pans out and just goes away from the barn.
Yeah.
You know, whose idea was to do that fadeaway kind of thing?
I mean, we had that idea pretty early on. I mean, we were forced to change it a lot because we ran out of time and
Oh wow.
couldn't find certain places. So there's some secrets with that shot that I won't say.
Okay, okay.
But yes, but it is yeah, we knew part of it is we were like, okay, we knew that M, was effectively dead for part of the episode. That
Yeah.
was one of the first things we talked about, but we knew that we wanted to bring her back. And really it was just sort of like there's a lot that happens in between the mill and when you see her again. So the
Yes.
question was really just like, at what point are we going to find out that Emma's still alive? And that was the big question that kind of changed, when we were writing, is like, okay, do we do right after? I think, and I won't spoil anything, but it's like, well, I'm trying to think of a way to say this without spoiling it. And I think any way I say it is going to spoil it. Let's just say, like I said, a lot happens. We'll find out what that was if we get a season 2. But it was really just a question of like, what part of that story do we jump in at? And we had this idea of sort of seeing her. Really, what it was the idea of the red thread, getting that red thread in there, because that was something we had tried to do earlier, but it didn't fit in the story. And so, but we knew we wanted to get that in there. And with what we kind of intend to storytell with M, it kind of fit that moment pretty well.
I have an idea what you're wanting to do without
Okay.
giving spoilers. It's just what I'm assuming that's going to happen, and I think I may be a little bit right, but we'll talk about that after the
All
stream.
right. I look forward to hearing.
So the question I was going to ask, and Nasser brought it up, when changing characters' personas,
Mhm.
one of the questions I wanted to ask, David's persona, James Elliott as Wayne,
Yeah.
and the mayor, you reversed them. What was I kind of see why you kind of did it as
Mhm.
well, because you see him at the end where he's saying, like she hates me. They all hate me,
Yeah.
their daughters. And I can kind of see a little bit of that, but that was a little bit changed from the comic, but I didn't have a problem with it. I liked it.
Mhm.
It gave it
Yeah,
a different spin.
It was funny because I remember, Tim and Mike hadn't really read the scripts yet, and when Mike came on set, we talked about this specifically. He was like, I really like what you did with Wayne, because Wayne in the comic is kind of passive. Like he's there, and there's, to a certain degree, he's this kind of gruff individual, but he's not super active in the story. Like he's not really pushing anything forward. He's sort of there as just an authority figure.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, the Cypress family kind of has to be the core, and we wanted to do this, this very dysfunctional family. And our main dramatic question is, will the Cypress family heal? And in order to do that, you got to beat your characters up a little bit. And I thought we just felt it was interesting to talk about some of the socio-political elements of what was happening with Revival Day through Wayne specifically.
Yeah.
And two, we just thought, look, Dana needs foils as well. I mean, what does Dana want? You got to tell that story of what her need is and what her want is. And, if her, if the whole thing hinges on don't tell dad, then dad's got to be a force, right? Like you can't kind of end that first issue, and then in our case end the first episode with don't tell dad, if we don't quite understand why don't tell dad. And so we kind of had to push dad, into a little bit more of that kind of character. So he's loud, and which to be fair, that's David. That's how David talks. It's so funny. Like he'll walk into a room and he's in that room, because he's just this big, bold, loud man, and he's a sweetheart and a teddy bear. Don't get me wrong, but he's got that sort of boomy voice. So he kind of really put a lot into that character of himself, and you know, it was wonderful. And then, you know, he got like really, like David would get upset like when he read some of those last episodes. He's like, what? He's like, what is this? He's like, everyone's pissed at poor old Wayne. He's like, he got mad at us. He was like, what are you doing? And we're like, David, just trust us. You know, you got to go on a journey, man. You got to go on a journey, and yours is a big one. You know, the audience is gonna hate you, and then they're gonna love you, and then you're gonna, you know, it's all gonna matter. And the only way it matters is if you beat those characters up and you give them obstacles. So we just felt like Wayne needed more of that.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask Luke, how are you feeling now, man? So, because like the season's been over for a little bit. After each episode, I'm sure you're, even if you don't want to, you're checking out comments and you're hearing stuff. So now that you don't have that adrenaline every week, what are you doing? How are you feeling?
And man, was it a rush? Yeah, no, it took a good, I would say like a good 3 weeks or more to just like to kind of like just understand what I was feeling. It was very weird because not only just with how it takes so long to make a show, and then you realize it's consumed so quickly. Like I kept saying, it feels like I slaved all morning, you know, on a Thanksgiving dinner, and everyone ate it in 15 minutes. Like that's kind of what it feels like, and you're just sort of like, oh my god. So yeah, so it was a very weird feeling, and then on top of that, you know, I've got the extra, you know, 9 years, 10 years of trying to get this off the ground, and literally many years, like going, asking myself, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Like I got the chance of a lifetime with SIP, and you know, no matter how hard I try, I can't get it to the next step. And so to see it all come to fruition,
and then you get to see everyone's reactions every week.
So. Yeah, and you know, and those reactions are like, you know, they're in fairness, they're reacting the way they would react to any show, and they should be, you know, fair reactions. So yeah, it's in some great and some not so great every now and then. Since then, I kind of have gone away because I've been working on a new pilot for a different show, but yeah, it's I'm kind of finally at the point where sort of I just am like, it's like now it's just sort of there in the world. You know, and we're meeting every week, you know, trying to talk about season 2 stuff, and you know, and ideas for that. So we're still kind of in it, but yeah, the rush of season 1 happening and the show happening is kind of, it was weird. It was very weird for a bit, but now it's kind of settled a little bit.
Do you feel like you need that hit again?
I'm enjoying the break, I'll say. I'm enjoying I'll be ready to go jump back in, but yeah.
Last time we talked to you, you were talking about that you had, I think it was like 1 or 2 possible other comic adaptations. Has there been any movement on either of those or any of those?
Yeah, I actually I just I've got a pilot that I am writing right now. I've got the outline is fully done. Ooh. I just finished the pitch deck for the Bible for it today, actually. A couple hours ago. So yeah, so it's going. So tomorrow I start getting through the script, and yeah, and it's amazing, and I can't wait for people to find out what it is, because I think people are gonna lose their minds. But I'm pretty excited about it. It's very different from it's I will say that it's instead of Revival sort of being in the horror space, this is superhero space. So I'm gonna, you know, jump into that world. So, and then there's a movie as well that I'm working on that I'm excited about, and I've got a couple people that have joined that I'm very excited to.
And that's an adaptation as well?
It is another comic adaptation. That's of a Vertigo comic, actually.
Well, that ties into a question we got on YouTube. Steady is asking, what's your dream comic to adapt to a big movie or TV franchise?
What's my dream comic? Oh my God, where do I even start? I mean,
can you do a top 3?
Yeah, I might have to say it. Or a big movie TV franchise. Okay, so there's a couple. So my dream, I have two major dream comics. On the superhero side, I would sell my soul to the devil to do a New Frontier movie. I just want to do.
Oh, yeah.
I just love. I want to do a thing. I just want to see. I not do, but I want to see superhero movies go more into the period space. Like I
Hmm.
kind of really love like Fantastic Four. I thought was great. There was some things about it, but the thing I loved the most about it was that it was in this world, this sort
Hmm.
of period type of world. Even though it's an alternate universe, it still feels very 60s, and
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it works so well for those kind of superhero comics, and I would love. I've got a couple ideas even for other heroes like a Batman version, a Superman version. But I love I love like the Flesher Superman, right? Like
Hmm.
I just think I would love to see a movie where it's like a separate Superman movie that takes place in the 40s. You know what I mean? That just really goes for that world. And I think it's interesting because if you set it in a period space, the stakes can change, right? Like it doesn't have
Oh
to
yeah.
feel like modern day stakes, like end world ending stakes, which I think a little superhero fatigue comes from that. Like I think we're just like desensitized to the modern stakes of a superhero film. So it's
Yeah.
hard to invest as much. Um, I thought Fantastic Four did it well because it was more personal. I thought Superman did it well because it was more personal. I think you
Yeah.
kind of have to do that. But in general, I think period does that. So doing like a New Frontier, which is like, Cold War, Silver Age thing, I think
Yeah. Yeah.
in a movie would just be so cool. And I think that that's the way that Darwin Cook told that story is so cool. So that's kind of like
Oh,
my superhero world. And then
Okay.
on the image world, the one I would love to do more than anything is Fatale. Um,
Ah, okay.
Brubaker
S-
and
Sean
John
Phillips. Yeah.
Phillips. Yeah, I
Hmm.
love Ed Brubaker. I love all of his books, and I'm like, my favorite, um, my favorite genre. Like, I love horror and I love all this stuff, but I love noir. I just love noir, and I want to do. I don't think noir is like one of those things where I don't think anybody's really gotten it, and for some reason, Ed Brubaker, just gets noir perfectly.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
would love to adapt that. Yeah, and then in terms of like big movie TV franchises, the one I always mention I would love to do. I know they're doing a version, and we'll see what it is, but I would love to do like a Highlander. Like I love Highlander.
oh yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
So doing a Highlander version. It's specific. I love the show. I specifically love the USA show that was on for a while. I used to watch that
Oh
with my
yeah.
Mm.
I was worried at the beginning. I didn't think it was gonna last long, but it did. It lasted pretty long, and
yeah, and
it was a decent show.
it was a decent show, and it introduced a lot of great mythology, I think, to that
Yeah.
IP that the movies couldn't do. After the first movie, whew, it gets rough. So Highlander 2 and on, it's not great. And that's coming from someone that just loves Highlander. But that first movie is amazing, and I love that world. So
Okay.
Yeah. No, that definitely. The other question I wanted to ask was the practical for the creature.
oh yeah.
There was set photos of the actual creature. Who's the people who created it or made it?
So we did the original creature designer was a guy named Ken Barthelme, who is he's a Eastern European creature designer, amazing. He did a ton of stuff for like Kong and God versus Godzilla, those movies.
Oh wow.
So he's done that. He did a ton of stuff in Fantastic Beasts, and I think he created one of the monsters in Maze Runner. I want to say or one of those
Okay.
movies.
Yeah, yeah.
He's really 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 great. And he did one of the earliest things that we ever did was hire him to do a design for the passenger. And
Wow.
then when we got onto the set, we wanted to do it practically. Like we didn't want a CG passenger, and we fought for that. I mean, they begged us to go CG. Aaron in particular hates CG monsters, so we talked to Steve Kostansky, who is the genius behind The Void and Psycho Gorman, and he just did the new Deathstalker movie.
I was just gonna bring that up, dude. That movie,
Yeah.
I saw it. The practicals were freaking awesome.
You saw that?
It took me back to the 80s, man.
Which one? Which movie? Which one?
Deathstalker, the most recent one with
Yeah.
Daniel Bernstein, I think it
Oh,
is.
did you see the movie?
Yes, I
Oh,
did.
dude, I haven't even gotten to watch it yet. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
dude, it's so it gives you the feels of Army of Darkness, the
Oh man.
sorcerer and the
Oh.
sorcerer and the sword, or the
Yeah,
sword
yeah,
and the
yeah. It's
sorcerer.
like yeah.
Dude, I
So
was watching this, and the little things they did, the fight scenes were actual fight scenes. The actress that portrays the troll
uh-huh.
killed it. Like
Yeah.
between the acting between her and Daniel, freaking phenomenal. They're going to be showing it at Fantastic Film Fest this weekend,
Oh
and yeah, and then Patton Oswalt plays a voice for the troll.
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Uh,
loved it.
I'm so excited to see this movie. And Steve Kostansky, who directed that, is got this amazing practical effects company. He did all of our
Oh,
prosthetics, all of our special effects on. So like like the when Rhodey sticks his hand into his stomach and stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's all Steve. That's all Kostansky who
Oh
did
wow.
Death Star. He's amazing. He's a studio in Toronto, and he pitched us the idea of building a puppet for the passenger. And originally we
Oh
were going to see
wow.
if we could do like a person in a suit, but just the
Yeah.
way we wanted that to feel. So he started sculpting based on our original designs this amazing looking puppet that they in his studio they shot all the stuff for. And I unfortunately did not get to go. It's one of my biggest regrets. I wish I could have been there when they were filming all that because it looked so amazing. But that's the power of practical, man. I mean, it just changes it, right? It just feels so good when you see it. And even if you kind of know, it's just different. It just feels different. It's like your brain knows that that's tactile, that's a thing that someone can touch. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. I mean, I'm sorry, I butchered his name. Daniel Bernhardt. That's who it is. That's the main actor.
yes, yes, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
and dude, the monsters in their actual practical monsters in suits who are fighting with one eyes. He mentioned that it's. I got to interview him, which was a dream come true. Because he's been in freaking John Wick,
oh
he's been in
wow,
freaking Agents of Shield, he's been in, I mean, Bloodsport
yeah,
2. He's been, dude. Like it
that's
was
amazing.
when I got offered to do that interview was crazy. Getting to talk to you is crazy.
I'm
Um,
nobody. Awesome.
because but no, but you are us. You are the fans. You actually are putting movies together because you love movies and
Yeah.
TV shows, and we need more directors and showrunners like you because that's when we get the
Mm.
great stuff. Because yeah, you can have a director who focuses on this type of film, but when you get him to come film a superhero, they don't go. And that's why we get some of these movies that tend to, because the story's not there.
Well,
They rush the story, or too much CGI. It's a
if
number
you're
of
not a
things.
fan, then I think you're missing a big part of it, right? Like it's like if you look at every great piece of art, it all comes from the influence of being a fan of something. Like if you go and
Yeah,
you talk about like the Beatles, right? Like just that sort of one of the greatest bands of all time because they wanted to do was be American blues. Like they started writing songs because they were just trying to literally emulate the stuff that they were listening to from the American scene, and that just then went
yeah,
through their version and became what it became. But it started as being a fan, and it extended to them being a fan, not them some having this sort of thing of like, well, music is this, and I just have to create music. No, they needed to do what they loved, or
yeah,
recreate the things that they loved, I should say. And that's kind of, I think, when it matters. That's all I'm trying to do. I just want to like all I want to do is everything starts from a place of, man, you know what I really love? I love this thing. How can I make that thing? You know what I mean? And then it gets filtered through my experiences and my, whatever my personal thing is. But, it all starts from being a fan of stuff and loving stuff. So it's like when I sit down and read a comic or watch a movie or anything like that, like, I consider it research, because some part of that is going to influence me at some point. So, yeah.
I was just going to mention, if you
Yeah,
guys
Nasser,
are
I mean,
fans of the Deathstalker universe, check out the comic from Vault. They've got a cool Deathstalker comic.
Written by Tim Seeley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim knows Kostansky.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and actually through that, I won't say what it is, but the movie that I'm working on, or that I'm developing, is includes Kostansky as well. He's going to be doing at least doing the monster designs for that, and it's going to have tons of crazy monsters in it. So there's a Tim Seeley connection there too. So.
All right.
Dude, where does Tim find the time to sleep?
I don't know.
He's writing Godzilla. He's writing, I mean, dude, he's writing so much stuff right now.
And the dude, I don't know how many people know this. That I don't know that he does sleep, to be honest, because he's also teaching full time. He's now a full-time teacher at Columbia College in Chicago, and he doesn't know how to say no to anything. So yeah, that dude, man, if I had even an ounce of the freaking work ethic that he has, oh my god.
I tried getting him on. He's like, I'm busy from here to here. He's like, I'm available from this time to this time. I'm like, man, I already got somebody scheduled that time. I'm like, oh, so I got to look for another day. Yeah, but I understand. I mean, this is the thing. As a writer, you have people sometimes writing 3-4 books at one time for 3 different publishers or the same publisher, which I don't know how they can determine, hey, this is this world, this is this world. And
I can't.
Yeah, I don't. That's a gift, just like as an artist and as a filmmaker, everybody sees the world differently. And I feel that's the awesome part about art. You've got different directors, different artists, different writers. Everybody sees the world differently. And it's their point of view of what they write or put out in film. And that's what I love about it, because it's like a book club. Me and you, all 3 of us watched the same show, but each of us got different things that we didn't catch.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I love about comics, especially, is you get these worlds and these characters that we know, and they have these touchstones that are always going to be there. But it's fun to sort of bring in new artists and new writers to sort of take different spins and to give their perspectives to that thing. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I think that's the reason that it survives the way it survives, is because you're just constantly getting, I mean, that's kind of what art, I mean, that, and I'm not to get into an AI conversation, but I think that's what art is about, right? It's about perspective. It's about human perspective. If you don't have human perspective, what is the point? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of why I'm drawn to that. So it's like, I don't read Batman just because I just want to look at Batman, right? Like, I read Batman because, like, every now and then someone's going to do something, that is just like, oh my God, I never thought about that. Or that's just such a cool way to frame this, Every now and then you're going to get the hushes or the, Court of Owls or the whatever, right? It's just that special sauce that happens when the right writer or artist comes in and does it. So yeah, it's a human element I think is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, like Nasser's show, he's bringing 3 different people who worked on Blue Beetle.
I love culture.
And we get to see all of it's that's the best part about it. You're gonna get to see each of their way of how they see Blue Beetle, how they drew it, how they wrote it. And that's the best part about it. And that's what Nasser is putting on the show for, because that's what he loves. He loves the stories, the comics, the independent writers. The talents are out there. You just got to bring them out there so that the right people can find them and purchase stuff and find that right book that belongs to the right person to read. And that's why we're all here. That's why you are here. That's why Nasser's here. That's why I'm here, brother. To give people.
I'm just here to talk.
That's what we do best.
Yeah. So right now, before we go, for the up and comer we talked before, if you have somebody who loves working behind the camera or something like that wants to become a PA, and eventually get to where you got to, because normally some PAs start that way. They start as a PA and they work their way up to the top. What would you tell them? What would you inspire them to do if that's something they want to do?
Just to work in film, I would say, I mean, look, a lot of it starts with just work ethic, just kind of going in and doing what you got to do every day. Just do whatever someone asks. But what I will say is, every time, we're working on a project, there's always a few people that sort of rise to the top that, and it's usually the people who kind of come in with a certain kind of positive attitude, right? Just like knowing that it doesn't matter what they're there to do. You can tell when they love to do it. And what I'll say is, filmmaking is a very grueling process. It's like 13 to 15-hour days, sometimes more, and it's long and it's tiring, and you have overnights and you have early days, and you're just running around and everyone's stressed all the time. But because of that, you build this really tight community of people, this really tight family of people. And so the people on that set really gravitate towards the people who are kind of bringing that positive energy all the time. It doesn't matter how skilled you are or anything like that. And, no one really wants to hear about, the movie that you're trying to make next, whatever. Like, they just want to you just got to go in there, and you got to just kind of be, a friendly face and just love what you do, and kind of be infectious a little bit. And I think that's, it's a weird thing to say, but just sort of coming in and into a situation like that is usually how I've seen PAs suddenly work their way into. I've seen PAs start on movie 1 and they're the head accountant by movie 3, or they're, working assistant camera by movie 3. It's just like, we almost always are hiring people that we liked to spend time with from the previous movie. Like, that's really what it is. I've never looked at anybody's, degree ever in any way, shape, or form on a movie. It's all based on networking and and the impression that you make, in that first one. And we always need PAs. Let me tell you, PAs are, there's always a role for a PA. So start there, and usually it's a pretty quick. If you know what you're doing, you're up there pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Well, if the show doesn't work out, I'll contact you, Luke.
Hey, we got stuff. Definitely.
Oh man. Well, again, Luke, thank you for coming on. As soon as you know and you're allowed to talk about the projects you're working on, shoot it to Countdown. We'll definitely talk about it. And I will be talking to you about Stalker. I'll definitely talk to you about that once you watch it.
See it. Yeah, I'll hit you up as soon as I get to.
All right, man. And good luck. Hopefully we hear some news on a possible season 2 soon, man.
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah.
Just get the word out there. Anybody who can talk about it, it makes a difference. They pay attention. So we appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it on Peacock and just let it run all day while I'm at work.
That makes a difference. If you can do that, God bless you.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Guys, go like and follow Luke. He'll post stuff on his socials. Nasser, go follow his show, Casa. You don't want to miss it. Go follow us. We've got interviews we haven't dropped yet, and we got some big news that we're going to be dropping tomorrow for a guest that we're going to have at Superhero Con, Space Con. So keep